ancient Greek mythology, Artemis, the goddess of purity, held a distinguished place among the 12 principal Olympian deities. She was born to Zeus, the ruler of the gods, and the goddess Leto, and shared a twin connection with her brother Apollo, the god of the sun. Artemis was primarily associated with the moon, and her seniority over Apollo, established by a mere 9-minute age difference, was acknowledged by their mother Leto. Artemis's upbringing unfolded in her beloved sanctuary of Arcadia, where she was accompanied by a retinue of 60 sea goddesses and 20 water nymphs. Together, they engaged in hunting and frolicking in the woods. With her specially crafted bow and arrows, created by the Cyclopes, Artemis earned the moniker Apollosa, signifying her role as a protector. In response to the animosity Hera, the queen of the gods, harbored toward their mother Leto, Zeus bestowed upon Apollo the responsibility of guiding the radiant chariot of the sun, illuminating the earth. In contrast, Artemis sought solace in the mountains, reveling in the company of forest nymphs and pursuing her passion for hunting. As night descended, and she embarked on her resplendent moon chariot for her nocturnal journey, Apollo serenaded her with his lyre and melodious songs, providing a harmonious backdrop to Artemis's tranquil sojourn through the vast cosmic expanse. Artemis didn't take kindly to those who disrespected her. For example, there's a story about King Oeneus from Calydon. He forgot to offer a sacrifice to Artemis, and she was not happy about it. In her anger, she sent a big, scary boar to cause trouble in Oeneus's kingdom. But Artemis wasn't all tough and stern. She had a softer side, too. She loved music, singing, and dancing. When she came back from her hunting adventures, she would head to Mount Parnassus and have a good time singing and dancing with the Muses and Charites. This shows that Artemis had two sides to her personality, just like how the moon changes its shape. One moment, she could be fierce, and the next, she'd be all about having fun and being kind. Artemis, known as both the moon goddess and the goddess of the hunt, possessed distinctive characteristics and attire. As the moon goddess, she adorned herself with a crescent moon crown, donned a long white coat, and carried a torch. Her preferred hunting equipment included a silver bow, and she traversed the night sky in a silver chariot drawn by golden antlered creatures, driven by a pack of loyal hounds. Artemis's character was profoundly shaped by the circumstances of her birth. At the tender age of 3, when her father Zeus offered her a gift, Artemis chose eternal purity, which became a defining aspect of her divine persona. She excelled as a guardian goddess, and as the twin sister of Apollo, she was also revered as the goddess of light, with a particular focus on the moon's radiant glow. Much like her brother Apollo, Artemis possessed healing abilities and served as the protector of both young children and all living mammals. On occasion, she would veil her face with a cloud to bestow a celestial kiss upon a handsome young man. Those fortunate enough to receive this celestial kiss from the moon goddess often experienced an infusion of creative inspiration, becoming poets or prophets with vivid imaginations. Artemis, the moon goddess and skilled huntress, had a deep affinity for the mountains and forests, where she maintained her sacred domains. Anyone who dared to trespass on her territory or disturb her tranquility faced her wrath. A notable example of her stern justice involved a hunter named Actaeon. He stumbled upon a scene of Artemis and her nymphs bathing in the woods, and in her anger, she transformed him into a deer, allowing her hounds to tear him apart. During the Trojan War, King Agamemnon of Mycenae offended Artemis by slaying a sacred female deer meant for a sacrifice to the goddess. In consequence, his fleet became ensnared by unfavorable headwinds in the harbor of Aulis. To appease Artemis and seek her forgiveness, Agamemnon made the painful choice to offer his beloved daughter, Iphigenia, as a sacrifice to the goddess. This act eventually liberated them from their predicament. Artemis played a pivotal role in delaying the destruction of Troy, much to the chagrin of the Queen of Heaven, Hera, and the goddess of wisdom, Athena, who sought the city's downfall. In a later contest between the Greek gods and the Trojans, Artemis found herself at odds with Scylla. Artemis mistakenly claimed she could combat the formidable gods with her bow and arrows, underestimating Scylla's immense power. Scylla seized Artemis by the wrists with her left hand, and, with her right, forcefully lowered Artemis's bow and arrows to the ground. Zeus swiftly intervened, embracing his daughter and providing comfort in her moment of vulnerability. Artemis, the goddess committed to eternal chastity, could still be swayed by the allure of a handsome man. She harbored a deep affection for Endymion, a shepherd, and knowing that all mortals were destined to age and pass away, she beseeched Zeus to grant Endymion perpetual youth. Zeus, however, reminded her that the only way to attain immortality was to slumber indefinitely. Respecting this cosmic truth, Artemis cast Endymion into an unending slumber, his visage preserved in serene repose, sporting a tranquil smile. Artemis would visit him every night in his cave, gazing upon his enduring beauty. Additionally, Artemis held an ardent love for a young man named Orion. Their intention to be together faced vehement opposition from Apollo, who sought to safeguard his sister's chastity. In a ruse, Apollo spied Orion beneath the surface of a lake, with only the top of his head visible. Slowly, Orion swam further away, his head appearing as a tiny black dot. Apollo deceived Artemis, claiming that she could not hit such a small target, which Artemis vehemently disputed. In a bid to showcase her archery skills, she retrieved a bow and arrow from the lakeside and relentlessly fired at the tiny black dot, unaware that each shot struck Orion. It was only when she heard his cries of pain that Artemis realized she had mortally wounded the man she loved. Overwhelmed by guilt, Artemis fainted and suffered deep anguish, forever estranging herself from her brother Apollo. Despite Apollo's attempts at reconciliation, Artemis always withdrew before he could reach her. This schism between the moon and the sun in Greek mythology explains why the sun and the moon never share the sky. Upon learning of his master's demise, Orion's loyal hound, Sirius, who had faithfully followed him, mourned through a night of anguished howls and eventually passed away. Zeus, touched by the tragedy, immortalized Orion in the heavens as the constellation Orion. To comfort him, Zeus placed Orion's beloved hound, Canis Major, at his side, ensuring he wouldn't be lonely. Knowing Orion's fondness for hunting the hare, Zeus included a small prey, the hare, beside him among the stars. Artemis was venerated in the sylvan realms and mountainous landscapes of Greece, including regions such as Arcadia, Sparta, Laconia, as well as extending her worship to places like Crete and Asia Minor. Her renowned temple of Artemis, situated in Ephesus, Turkey, held the distinction of being one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. In classical art, Artemis is portrayed as a statuesque and beautiful young woman with flowing, curly chestnut hair swept away from her face. She typically adorns herself in a short Dorian tunic and wields a silver bow along with gleaming golden arrows. Frequently, she is accompanied by a gentle doe or a loyal hound. In her role as a fertility goddess, she is sometimes depicted with multiple breasts, symbolizing her nurturing aspect. In conclusion, Artemis, the multifaceted goddess of purity, the moon, and the hunt, played a prominent role in ancient Greek mythology. Her character embodied both stern and compassionate aspects, reflected in her protective nature, love for the wilderness, and her role as a guardian of young children and all living creatures. She is known for her unique connection to the moon, her unwavering commitment to chastity, and her passion for hunting and the natural world. Artemis's complex and rich mythology, along with her significant presence in ancient Greek culture, has left an enduring legacy, making her a prominent figure in the pantheon of Olympian gods and goddesses.